Justin Cross, what's going on, man?
What's going on, Cade Lamb?
We are here on the Fear Not, Do Right podcast. I'm here with entrepreneur, naval veteran, and just all around a good guy, Justin Cross.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, so I actually am pretty curious because it's one of those things where like I think I know, but don't really know. But Earn It All. What is it? How did it start? Tell me the story.
Earn It All started as something different called Earn Your Booze.
Okay.
Because like you said, I was in the Navy. And what do they say about sailors? We cuss and we drink, right?
Yeah.
Well, that was true. So when I was in, I was always taking care of myself, working out like a maniac, but never missing a port call or a house party and stuff like that. So the concept for Earn Your Booze started for me because I was like, man, if I'm going to be doing this, I know it's not healthy. I know it's not a great thing. I'm just going to work harder on me just to make sure I don't know, try to offset some negative effects or stay in good shape and stuff like that, right? So that's how that started. And I started Earn Your Booze in 2017, which was, I got out of the Navy in 2006. I worked for Lockheed Martin for about 10 years. Worked on fighter jets in like the middle of California. We did flight tests on Raptors, F-22s, and F-35s.
Oh, hell yeah.
Got out of that. I can tell you how I got out of that if you want, but I got out of that to get into my own business. And after a couple other things, Earn Your Booze was my first brand company that I started. And it's essentially a work hard, play hard brand. Like, be a good person, be as healthy as possible, handle your responsibilities. And if you choose to drink, treat it as a reward and not just something you mindlessly do, like basically what happened in the Navy. I was trying to put more intention behind it and more positive behind what you're doing with your body. Well, the number one question we got throughout those, say, 6 or so years was, hey, how do I earn it? What does that mean? Like, I get the lifestyle. A lot of people, they work hard, they go to the gym just so they can go look good and feel confident at the bar or have a party. Like, that's a lot of people's lifestyles, and fighters and athletes, all sorts of people, right? But they're like, but how do I earn it? So last year, about a year and a half ago, we sort of added Earn It All as the answer to how do I earn a healthier body, a stronger mind, and just essentially a healthier lifestyle. So Earn It All right now is where we teach people how to do that. So Adam, we were just talking with him. He's our head coach. He essentially literally helped write the book on how to become a personal trainer, like at the National Personal Training Institute. He's a Marine as well. But the dude has every certification and credential on the planet when it comes to nutrition, physiology, strength and conditioning, growing muscle, losing fat, all that stuff.
Including walking sideways through doors.
Yes, because he's a juggernaut and he has to do that, right? That's exactly right. So Earn It All, essentially what we do right now is a couple different things. One, we do executive health coaching where we work one-on-one with a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs and actually some celebrities and people that are really well known that have focused on like their business or their personal brand to the extent where they went, oh man, I got a wake up call. I need to take better care of myself. So we work very closely with people at that level and get into blood work and all sorts of stuff, but we essentially make it so you don't have to think about what to do to get and stay in great shape. The other thing that we do is we do corporate wellness, which is kind of a boring term, but you're Army, I'm Navy, Adam is a Marine. We love working with like groups of people and teams. So we love to do these team accounts, corporate wellness accounts, where we get in front of a bunch of people all at once. We get them their nutrition and fitness and behavior change and habit programs. And then we really just dive into personal development, leadership, and all of that. So at the core of Earn It All, like it's not Earn Your Booze anymore. That'll be a brand we do bring back. But at the core of what does it mean to earn it all is you operating at your highest level. And that's healthy, that's mental, that's all the things like in personal development that like you as a man or a woman should be doing so you can serve your business and your family and your life at the highest level.
Well, I think your body is such a good representation of who you are as an individual because you can't lie about it.
You cannot
lie about it.
You can't buy it. Like you can rent a Lambo, you can borrow a watch, you can have a great videographer, make you look amazing and go to Airbnbs and all this stuff, but you can't buy a six pack.
Yeah.
You can't buy a chest with vascularity. Like you literally have to earn that stuff.
Right. Well, I mean, especially nowadays too, I have a cousin, where it's almost like her mentality is the opposite. So I think she got hit with like celiac disease or something. And she's in her 20s, right?
Yeah.
Something happened where rapidly in like 4 months went from being this petite little girl to like 200 something pounds. And you're like, okay, obviously something's wrong here.
Right.
Like your health is out of whack. Like you don't go from being a like cute tiny girl to being like a bridge troll, you know? Like,
sure.
hey, have you ever seen the movie? Have you ever seen the movie Pure Luck with?
Oh my God! Yes.
When he gets stung by the bee and he gets all huge.
I forgot about
it looks
that
just
movie.
like that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, what are you doing? And you know, like if you have a gluten intolerance, the last thing you should be doing is drinking beer or anything like that. But not really stopping anybody there. And the solution, instead of getting control of, you know, diet, exercise, hydration, anything like that, was Ozempic, which now is like, it's like you deflate, like poked it with a needle, and it almost looks worse, but like smaller. But
yeah,
you know what? Like the metric of health and fitness there for most people is not there. And when you look at that individual, you're like, okay, like,
dude, the crazy thing
something's wrong here
about any supplement is how people treat it. Like whether it's a peptide or a steroid or even like a protein powder, a vitamin, anything, it should literally be what it's called, a supplement to a lifestyle that is conducive to you being healthy and being in shape. So like you said, if you have celiac, you should not be smoking down, you know, bread and cookies and beers and stuff like that. But a lot of people, they either don't know or they don't care, and they kind of get into this downward spiral where it's like, yeah, I can tell I'm gaining weight. I feel like crap. I don't like what's going on, but I don't know. And they just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And then they find something like this thing is supposed to be like a miracle drug or something. But no, you still need to like change what's happening,
Right.
What's causing the root issue here. But they don't do that. They'll be like, oh, I injected this thing in, and then I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing. No, that's not the case. Like, because they're looking for shortcuts. They're not actually looking to earn the results that they want, and it's not going to work that way.
They're trying to avoid accountability, is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to avoid discipline, accountability, like really just they don't want to face the issue, you know, instead of like looking in the mirror and be like, dude, I have a problem. I know it can be fixed if I am willing to fix it. They don't want to do that. So they don't look in the mirror. They take a supplement and they just, okay, this will somehow work out. They're basically running from themselves.
You know, it's funny that I've noticed that, you know, because the Navy is super gay, but I've noticed that the discipline in the Navy is very different from other branches. And I kind of feel like a lot of that has transferred over into the work that you're doing now.
I mean, you said some funny things there, but, but you know, if that is the case, I would say there was something about living on a ship that, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of overweight, you know, people that are not very capable on a ship, but it's probably a lesser percentage because you're basically living in a sardine can. There's very steep stairs all over the place. You still have to carry stuff. Like you have a small rack, you know, like sometimes food is great. Sometimes it's very scarce and you're eating stuff that literally says not for human consumption, you know? So I think there is definitely more of a push to try to at least be in decent shape if you're on a boat, because you kind of have to. You're living in this little tiny hamster maze, you know? And it's like, what else are you going to do? Like for me, like in my guys, like when we were, you know, on the boat, there's really nothing to do except work, go to the gym, eat and sleep. Like there's nothing else you can do. Like some guys would play like cards and stuff, but there's no bar. There's really no TV for the most part. Like you can't really get lazy, especially if you work, you know, it's 7 days a week, 12 on, 12 off, right? Mm-hmm. So you work 12 hours. Well, the other 12, you're trying to sleep probably 8. You know, you shower and eat for probably 2. You only have a couple hours. Like, well, I'll just go to the gym. You know, so it was easy for like me and like my buddies to like stay in shape because that's all we did was work, eat, sleep, and work out.
Well, even the command structure and the accountability aspect of it is very different. Because I know in like the Army, like where I was, it was kind of you know, dudes were there was competition.
Yeah.
Like there was competition. Who was going to get the team? Who was going to get the mission? Who was going to get this, that, the other thing? I feel like in the Navy, it's more so like everybody knows their place, and the best leader is the best follower in that regard to discipline.
Sure. I mean, it should work like that. It does work in certain, circumstances. But like if you have, for example, if you have like a strong, I was in squadrons, right? I worked on fighter jets. So if our commander was a badass and he was in great shape, we see him flying every day, like you're a highly skilled pilot, you're probably in good shape, like up there, even if like down the chain, like if my shop chief was a bag of ass, like it didn't matter because we were like, well, we just know you're a bag of ass, but we see what that's like.
Yeah.
So like we just kind of ignore that and keep going. And we were very competitive as well, but like on an individual level.
Right.
Like, cause we are all right there in the same shop, eating together, working out together, in the same berthing together. It's like, well, what else am I going to do? I'm going to try to be better than everybody.
Yeah.
So it's just like a natural thing of like, let's just see how far I can take my fitness and my personal development.
What's the success been like as far as actually seeing the effects for some of these executives, business, like some of your clientele? Like, do they usually take to it and see dramatic changes, or do you see more of their character come through and be like, okay, this guy obviously doesn't have it?
Dude, what's so great about running through like a high level fitness program like that is you get to know the real person.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a social media highlight reel. It's not a business bio. It's not what you read in their books or anything like that. It's like, no, what is this person actually like? Do they actually have discipline? Do they have real drive? What is their real energy like? Especially like, what you do when conditions are not perfect is really what matters. And a lot of these people are like, they're only showing, this goes for basically everybody on social media, especially, they're only showing like the good stuff. So when you work with somebody like that, it's like, you get to know the real person.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that get results, which I would say is probably 95% of them, are the people that do the work. It's the ones that come in and think because they paid that they're somehow just going to magically change without putting in the work, and they bitch and they ask 1,000 freaking questions instead of actually doing the work. Those kind of people don't get the results, obviously, because they're not doing anything. But the ones that just acknowledge, all right, I have gotten myself to where I'm at today. I need to change and go to a different level. I'm going to do what Adam and Justin tell me to do. The ones that actually do it, they all get results, all of them. Because it's easy. Like everything that we put together is backed by science, heart, and is driven by real results. Like we don't do challenges or crash diets or anything like that. We literally look at the person. What's going on inside with the blood work? What's your lifestyle like? Where has your body historically been? Where is it today? Where do you want to go? And we're looking at everything from the family to business commitments. If you travel, like, allergies, injuries, what are your preferences when it comes to food or working out? All these different things. So when you have a real plan that's created with science and heart, because when I say heart, like some people are like, what do you mean heart? It's like, well, no, because we actually want you to get results. We're a results-driven company, When you put that together, when you do the work, it's impossible to not get the results you want. So the people that do it get the results. The ones that think they're just going to pay and have it appear, no.
Are you able to do are you able to dial it in? So like, let's say if some guy comes in, he's like, I want to look like an ultra marathoner. Or some dude comes in, he's like, I want to look like, freaking C-bum. Are you guys able to like be like, all right, this is what you do to look like an ultra marathoner? And dial it in like that?
Yeah, for sure. But if somebody says something like that, like if they say, I want to look like, or no matter what they say their goal is, we always drill in and find out what their true motivation is. Because somebody might want to look a certain way, and we'll find out why. Because when you start with, I want to look this way, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to feel the best, perform your best, or be the most capable, healthiest self, right? So we actually kind of reverse it back. We get into, okay, again, what is your lifestyle like? What are your goals? Like, do you have kids? Do you want to play with your kids? Like, do you plan to have grandkids? Do you want to play with them? Do you like to hike? Do you like to mountaineer? Do you like to run marathons? Whatever it is. And then we build a program based around a word called capability. I would rather somebody feel amazing, be able to move and have like longevity of health instead of worrying about looking a certain way. But here's the funny thing about it is when you train that way, you still get the looks you want.
Yeah.
So when people train for looks, you can get the looks, but that doesn't mean you're going to feel the best. You might kind of be, you might be setting yourself up for failure a little bit, because this is how I used to train. I used to do the classic bro split: leg day, arm day, back day, chest day, shoulders, like all this stuff. And my back was constantly just beat up. I was constantly, sore shoulder and just all these different things, right? When I started to train to actually move like a real machine, like full body movements and all the, carrying bags and carrying all these different things, I can still look the way I want to look, but I feel way better because I'm more capable. My body is more in tune with itself.
Well, and diet I'm sure it has to play a ton. I've noticed lately I can't eat bread, really carbs. I have to have no carbs because my knees, dude, will freaking. The other day I had a bunch of tortilla chips.
Yeah.
Because, they're good. You go to Barrio Queen, you're not going to get the tableside guacamole. Of course you are. And, dude, the next day my knees were killing me, like out of nowhere. But it was like, oh, yeah, dude, I had a bunch of tortilla chips yesterday, and now my knees are killing me. And, like you're explaining, like that changes my performance. That changes how I feel. And even though it's not making a huge impact, like it ripples into bigger impacts because you do that day after day of like, oh, well, I ate this, now I feel like shit. Ate that, now I feel like shit.
Dude, our bodies are telling us what's going on. They're saying, don't eat that, don't drink that, don't do this, don't do that. So like, why wouldn't we listen to it, right? They're telling us something. So especially if you have a great sign like that, like it doesn't mean that you have to know what the answer is. That's a great opportunity to talk with somebody like Adam and be like, dude, what could this mean? What is going on? Because your body, again, it's sending you signals. It's like, hey, I like this type of thing. I don't like this thing. So how about we start doing more of what my body wants, Yeah. Because like when it comes like to, back to this, like the earn your booze thing, like I don't even drink beer anymore. Like I just don't want it. Every once in a while, maybe I'll have a cocktail or something, but I don't drink. I mean, I don't say I don't drink, but I kind of don't anymore.
Yeah.
It's just because like my body, like one day I was just like, I don't feel good on it. I don't like it anymore. But if I had been like, nope, I have this brand, this is how I'm going to make money, this is how I do my thing, and I'm just going to keep pounding it, well, I'm going to pay for it for sure.
Yeah.
And the same goes for tortilla chips or sugar or seed oils, or like shellfish is a great one. Some people, like my wife, are allergic to shellfish, lobster, and certain kind of shrimp. If she eats it, her throat starts to close up, has a little issue breathing. Well, she stopped doing it. Yeah. And now she can breathe just fine. So if you're eating something that's like, man, my knees hurt, my stomach hurts, my head's foggy, something, okay, well, it's step one, let's just stop eating that. But then two, how about we figure out the root cause? And that's why we were just talking about blood work. Yeah. There's things you can do. There's Dutch tests, there's blood work, there's urinalysis, there's all sorts of biomarkers that we can look at to see maybe what you're genetically disposed to, or to see just how your body is functioning inside. And then we can start to address the root cause instead of like what pharmaceuticals do. And they go, oh, you're having a headache? Here's some pain pills. Well, how about we figure out where the damn headache came from? Yeah. Maybe we'll stop that so I don't need the pills.
So what do you think about some of these doctors and influencers are like super heavy on things like the carnivore diet? Like, have you seen that to be pretty across the board? Like, yeah, that works for pretty much anybody? Or is it a little bit more of a body type specific or, internet fad?
So here's the best diet. The best diet is one that you can do consistently and that doesn't mess up your body. So carnivore might work great for some people. Other people, if they can only do it 50, 60, even 70% of the time, and then the other 30, they're still eating whatever they're eating, it's not going to work. Yeah. Just like keto. Like you can't go into keto and eat all the stuff you're supposed to eat on keto 70% of the time and then still eat the shit you're not, like now you're just being a fat ass. Yeah. So whatever diet, quote unquote, loose term diet there, whatever you can do consistently is probably the best thing for you to consider doing. Okay. And yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that. So like carnivore can work great for some people. Keto can work great for some people. But like the way that I've learned about my body is through a lot of testing. So I eat mostly protein, like animal protein, like bison, beef, chicken, I love sushi, fish. And then my carbs are mostly like white rice, sweet potato, fruit, honey. And then there's like certain kind of cheeses that I like. I think I'm becoming a little bit like lactose intolerant a little bit. So I only eat certain kind of cheeses, but I love the food that I eat. I can eat a ton of it all the time and it never messes me up. Yeah. If I go have a meal that I know my body doesn't want, like, sure, it's great in the moment. I'm like, this is so much fun. I just, licking the plate and everything. Yeah. Afterwards, I'm completely miserable. I'm like, well, maybe I won't do that anymore.
See, it always bewilders me because, like I said, if I eat carbs right now, my joints kill me. But you go to places like look at places like Italy, it's like all they eat is pasta. Mm-hmm. Like all they eat is pasta. And so I wonder, like, how much of the stuff that we eat or stuff that messes us up is kind of American specific to
good question.
The seed oils, which I heard that the actual grain, the actual wheat that they use for all the Italian pasta is grown here in Yuma. Like all of it, 100% of it is grown in Yuma, Arizona, where it's got none of the, what's the stuff that, glyphosate.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got none of the glyphosate. Well, so it doesn't mess you up.
Yeah. And to answer like the root question there, like you're basically asking like, is there a difference in quality? And there definitely is. There's a difference in quality in meat, and especially when it comes to, like you said, like carbs. Because I'm kind of the same way. I'm very picky about pasta now. Because if I buy anything off the shelf in the store, I know now that's one of the things that just makes me feel miserable. My stomach just balloons out. It seems like it never goes away. I'm farting. Like I'm just miserable. I don't like it. If I eat some really high quality pasta from Italy or something that is grown without glyphosate and all the bullshit that is typically put on it, and it's like really high quality stuff, I'm good. I can smoke through huge bowls of it and I'm good. Same goes with meat. So I just said I eat a lot of meat, right?
Yeah.
There was a little bit of time, probably about 2 years ago, where I stopped eating red meat for a little bit, maybe like 5 or 6 months, because I would eat a steak or I'd eat a burger and I was getting a reaction where I was all bloated and farting and miserable. And I'm like, dude, what is going on? And after a while, I'm like, dude, enough. Like, I love steak, but I just feel like shit. Well, I wasn't eating the highest quality meat. So I was like, you know what, after a while, like, let me test some other stuff. So I'm like, I was reading about, like grass-fed, grass-finished, like free-range chicken and all this stuff, but specifically it'd say red meat. I started to buy like either prime or just like true, like local butcher grass-fed beef.
Right.
I could eat it like nothing happened. Like smoke down a huge ribeye in New York or whatever, feel amazing. That day, the next day, like nothing happened. It's the quality of the food that was doing it. Because the other stuff is full of antibiotics and potentially steroids, cheap grain they're feeding it, all this stuff. Like we're eating what that animal ate. Like that's going into our body. And I noticed night and day from the cheap stuff I'd get at Safeway over to the expensive stuff that I would get. Okay, there it is. Yeah. And it's not just because it costs more. It's literally the right quality for my body. So now I eat red meat basically every day if I can.
Now, do you still get some of the same effect? Like, can you cook out some of those side effects like with ground beef?
I mean, yeah. The meat itself is going to be the same.
Yeah.
So I basically just buy all high quality ground, high quality steak, high quality chicken, all that kind of stuff. So we get it delivered from like Force of Nature or Good Ranchers, or even like the prime steak at Costco is fine. Like
prime steak at Costco.
That doesn't mess with me. Yeah, I had a big old ribeye last night. It was awesome. So food quality is one of the biggest things that somebody can do. Like you said, nutrition is so important, but some people, they overthink it. They're like, man, I have to get ready before I start taking care of myself. I have to, I don't know if I'm ready to commit to like this huge lifestyle change. And in their mind, a lot of people think, oh man, chicken, broccoli, rice, no cookies, no chips, no beer, no nothing. Like I have to go talk to this big scary trainer at the gym with all the bright lights. Everyone's looking at me and they talk themselves out of it. One of the simplest things that people can do is just increase the quality of the food they're eating. Most people, especially in the United States, are eating too much sugar. So if you can get rid of the refined sugar, which is in basically everything, especially anything packaged, reduce your sugar, stop drinking soda, Stop drinking a bunch of juice. 'Cause, I mean, juice is just sugar too, you know,
Yeah.
unless you're a kid, you know what I mean? And that's all you can get them to drink.
Who was I listening
But just
to?
increase the quality of your food.
There was some guy that was saying, he's like, think about what with all the juicing and juices people will be drinking. He's like, think about how many, like if you have a glass of orange juice, how many oranges would you have to eat in order to squeeze out 8 ounces of orange juice that
Right.
you would have with your breakfast in the
Right.
morning?
And if you order orange juice for breakfast, like, are you going to say small or large? You're getting the big one.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of sugar in that stuff,
Tremendous.
a ton. So if people would just look at, I mean, honestly, most people probably need to throw away everything that's in their pantry and in their fridge. But if you just looked at, okay, this one thing, prioritize protein, prioritize high quality protein. If like, say you go into that same restaurant, which one did you say with the trips?
Barrio Queen.
Dude, great. I love the burritos. Like,
Yeah.
they're awesome. But if you go there and you're like, or wherever you go, focus on eating high quality protein first. Like try to get full on that, whether it's high quality chicken or beef or fish or whatever. Chances are you're going to eat less carbs because our body pretty much always is going to want more protein. It's one of the biggest eye openers when we have people start to see what they're eating compared to what we know they should be eating based off of all the data they give us. Almost everybody's eating more calories and more carbs and fat than they should be and under eating protein. So if you just do that, prioritize eating protein, you will naturally eat less of the other stuff and your body will start to work more like a machine and you're just going to get towards your goal, whether it's losing fat or gaining muscle, doesn't matter. Prioritize protein.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, there's tremendous mental benefits to it too. Like one of the biggest things I noticed was, so 2 years ago I think we talked about this in one of our car rides, but I was eating 16 ounces of prime beef every day with 1 ounce of raw honey, like probably 3 ounces of sourdough and 2 pieces of fruit, so like 2 apples, 2 oranges, whatever, and dropped like 30 pounds in a month.
Yeah.
Got shredded. But on top of that, like my mental state was so sharp, crazy sharp.
Totally.
It was insane. My rest was, I got better rest with less time, like sleeping wise. Didn't have to sleep as much. Got way better rest, way more energy throughout the day, way more sustainable energy throughout the day.
Totally.
And yeah, I was all shredded up. It was awesome.
It's there's an analogy I like to give. Like, I worked on fighter jets for a long time, and before we send a fighter jet in the air, you got to turn it on and you do all these bit checks and you basically learn everything that's going on with the jet. Is the engine functioning properly with all the different parameters? Is the flight, control system, all the flaps and wings, is everything working properly there? You test it all. Like, is everything functioning? Is this thing ready to go in the air? Is it safe? Because we're about to take it from the ground and throw it up in the air, potentially go over Mach, shoot weapons that could kill a lot of people. Like, there's a lot that could go wrong if that thing is not working correctly.
And it's like $30 million.
Yeah. Like, so there's a lot of reasons we want to know what's happening internally. We should treat our bodies the same way. Our bodies are incredible machines. Like, think what a human can do. But most of the time when we're trying to decide if we're healthy or not, what do? We look in the mirror. Am I fat? Am I skinny? Am I lean? Am I strong? And it's a visual thing. But we're ignoring what's going on internally. So when I say we wouldn't send a fighter jet in the air without knowing the data, I'm like, well, why would I send my body out into the world without knowing the data? And we can get that data so easily by doing super simple blood work. We pull out some of the blood that's inside, we analyze it, and we can see everything that's going on for the most part inside, including, especially us as men, like there's a thing called a prostate score that doesn't need a finger up the butt. Like, you can just literally look at it in the blood work and determine if your prostate is at risk and does need to be inspected or not.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't we do that? We wouldn't send a race car onto the track. We wouldn't send a jet into the air without knowing internally. But us, we just go, oh, yeah, fuck it. I'll put a shirt on and I'm good.
Yeah.
But we have no clue, most of us, what's going on internally. Like, we could be ticking time bombs for a heart attack, for cancer, and something as simple as changing the way we eat could fix all of that. So it's when some people think that they get overwhelmed, like, man, I don't know. I don't think I'm ready to commit, or I don't know if I can actually get into the shape that I want to be in. I don't have the belief of, like, dude, it might be really easy. It might be as simple as, you know what? Let's stop eating this. Let's just move a little bit, even like walking 10 minutes after every meal, hydrate properly, things that like we don't really think about. That could make a drastic difference and literally change your life.
Yeah.
And then we just go to the next level from there and from there and from there. So it's really easy when you know what's going on and have the data of your body.
It seems like it's kind of compounding, where it's
Totally.
like you start one thing
Mm-hmm.
and then that just keeps on scaling out and out and out until you're healthy.
I tell people this all the time, especially if they're like new to like, especially if they have to lose a lot of weight. They're like, man, you know, they look at someone, they're like, oh, I don't know how I'm ever going to look like that. I was like, don't worry about that. It's one bite, one step, one rep, one day at a time. That's it. Just focus on incremental changes here and there, right? Because you think about like use an airplane again. If you're going straight and you're going 500 miles an hour, you make a 1 degree difference in that, you won't really notice it in the air. But over time, you travel far enough, you're going to get to a drastically different place.
Right.
Right. So if you can just make a 1 degree change and then stay the course on that, you're going to go somewhere completely different. So some people, like Adam uses this all the time, are like, it's like a DJ board. You know, sometimes like if you're trying to tune in, like maybe this podcast mic or trying to get the music just right in the studio, it's not that you have to completely rearrange the whole board. It might just be, you know what, a little bit more treble here, a little less on this thing, tiny bit more volume here, just a couple little tweaks, and now it's perfect. Our bodies are like that a lot too. Like it doesn't need a completely major lifestyle change a lot. It might just need a 1 degree change here, 1 degree difference there, 2 degrees here. And let's just focus on that one day at a time. And then we can collect the data and see how it goes and then just go from there.
It sounds much more manageable than
It's
like
much more
even
manageable.
my mental, like my perspective of things. I'm like, okay, I need to, I'm terrible. Like last week I did a 72-hour fast,
Mm-hmm.
72
Water
hour,
fast?
72-hour water fast. And then just started getting like going for it in the gym.
Right.
Like I hadn't missed a day.
Right.
And like my wife tells me there's no way that it's healthy. And I'm like, you know, I'm a dude. It's a little bit different, but secretly I'm like, maybe it's not.
Yeah, well, a lot of people do that. They look for like these things that are so drastic of a change because they think that's what it's going to take. But instead of looking for that drastic change and jumping into a huge, water fast or a 75 hard, which is great. I've done 75 hard, but that's part of a bigger program. A lot of people overthink it. And then they start and they're so restrictive on everything. It's chicken, broccoli, rice, and they get rid of all the fun food, all the things they like on the weekends, all the things that make them comfortable and all that. They get into this crazy workout routine that hurts and they're super sore. What happens? You get discouraged.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go anywhere. And then you stop and then you start and then you stop and you stop and you start. Like, dude, that's why most people fail at their goals. So when you work with like on one of our programs, it's like, no, we're looking at everything you're doing. We're just going to make some tweaks and changes here and there. And then we roll with you the whole way to make sure that you can keep going and it's sustainable. That's the number one important thing, is to make it something you can actually keep doing.
Do you find it's easier to work with guys with experience who are like, oh yeah, I used to be, or people who have no idea what they're doing?
Usually people that have no idea what they're doing. And it's because of ego. We've worked a lot of people, like they're like, oh, I used to be a bodybuilder, or I used to do this. I used to bench this in high school. I used to look like you when I was in college, stuff like that. And then you give them the plan. And a lot of the times they're like, oh, I already know this. Like, yeah, but you haven't been doing it.
Yeah.
So a lot of those people, what they really need is accountability. Like they need someone that can like hold their feet to the fire, make sure they're doing what they need to be doing, stop doing the shit they shouldn't be doing. But a lot of those times, those guys are harder to work with because they're this like, it's like this internal battle that they're like putting against like me or Adam. Like, well, who are you to tell me? Well, dude, you got yourself to where you're at. We're gonna help you dig out of that hole. And then but on the flip side, the other scenario is when you have someone that's just like, all right, I don't know what to do. I'm ready for a change. Those people are usually more willing to do the work, and then lo and behold, they get the results. So I love working with people like that because it's like, we don't need you to think. Like all the information's out there on Google, like literally anything.
Yeah.
Anything's out there. You can look it all up. But who wants to spend their time researching the crap out of all this stuff? Wouldn't it be much easier to just be told what to do and do it?
That's what most people want.
Yeah. So that's what we provide. So the ones that do it get the results. It's the ones that have this glory days high school story or, military story of like, I used to be a bodybuilder type thing. Like it's those guys that are sometimes harder to work with because they're not willing to actually do the work.
Yeah. So if you were to chalk it up, right, to a listener who has never set foot in a gym,
Mm-hmm.
what would be the top 3 things, right? Even to someone who is experienced, like what are the top 3 things that you tell clients like, hey, you start doing these 3 things, you're going to see the difference?
Yeah, well, it does depend a little bit, and I hate to say that, but it does depend on goals. So if somebody wants to lose fat, some super easy things you can do is walk for 10 minutes after every meal. Get that body moving, get the metabolism going, start using what you just put in it. And it's also a good mental thing to like, okay, I just ate a bunch of food. Oh, now I'm doing something for me that's different than eating. So walk 10 minutes after every meal is 1. Okay. 2 would be look at your sleep quality. So I wear this, this Apple Watch. It's not how many hours you spend in bed. It's the quality of your sleep. It's the REM cycles that you have. It's the quality of sleep. So I know me, after looking at my data for years now, I can sleep 5 or 6 hours and feel perfect. That's basically my sweet spot. Sometimes if I'm in bed for 8 or 9 hours, I feel shittier because my sleep quality wasn't great. Maybe I woke up in the middle of a REM cycle, and now it's just kind of throwing off the whole purpose. So move your body, look at your sleep quality, and then let's say it's 4 things. Increase the quality of the food you're eating. Stop eating the shit you're not supposed to be eating. Like if you could just even reduce the chips and the cookies, even just by half, you'll start to feel that, and just and move your body. And we already said that with walking, but like if you can move your body, decrease the junk that goes in, and increase the quality of your sleep, you're off to a huge head start. And notice we haven't even talked about the gym.
Yeah.
At all. We haven't talked about macros. We haven't talked about any of that stuff. That's why everyone can do these things. We all know what we're supposed to be doing, or we all know that we should not be doing X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. If we just started to do those things, listen to our body a little bit more, like, man, because think about this. Like you said, you ate the chips and then your knees hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not so much about the knees. It's like, well, what else is happening in my body to make the knees hurt? Like maybe I don't feel it somewhere else. Maybe I'm not feeling it in my heart. Maybe I'm not feeling it in my organs or in my veins or whatever, but there's obviously a response happening when I eat all these chips. I'm feeling it here in my knees. But I'm not just concerned about my knees. It's like, well, what else is going in my body if I'm feeling it in my knees? So like just stopping that is automatically going to get you on a path that's healthier because we don't know what's really happening at that point.
Yeah.
Now,
how do you coach people on their time management with this?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know for myself, one of the biggest obstacles is navigating trying to eat right with a wife and kids who it's not necessarily like my 3-year-old does not care about the red 40 in her fruit snacks.
Right.
My wife's a little bit more mindful, but there's a huge disparity between like what I need to eat as just a dude in his 20s and what my pregnant wife needs to eat as a pregnant woman. Like,
right.
So, and then on top of that, finding the time around family and work and all that stuff. How do you guys coach people to navigate that?
This one's actually really easy, like for us men. We got wives and we have kids. Like, so what is our role? Our roles are a couple things among protecting, providing, and presiding, right? Which means we have to be able to do that. We have to be the ones that can get up the earliest, go to bed the latest, the ones that can carry the most, the ones that can just put out that energy and that drive to provide and protect for them. So what does that mean? It means we need to be physically capable, like as capable as possible. So knowing that that's the case, because that's the role that we've accepted now leading our families, that means we need to be as healthy as possible. So it's not so much, in my opinion, about time management. It's about priority management. Because if you want to be there for them every day at the highest level for literally your entire life, we have to come first. Think about an airplane. When you're on a plane, what do they say about the oxygen masks?
Put your own on before.
Yeah. And why is that?
Well, because you're no good
Right.
if you don't put your own on.
That's right. Like if you fumble yours, let's say, and then you pass out, right? Because there's no oxygen in the plane. You have zero chance of helping your family next to you. But if you just take those extra couple seconds, put it on, chances are, even if the kid is fumbling with hers, you're still going to be able to help her. So we have to look at that the same way with us, with our capability, with our health level, with our longevity, with our capability as men. So to me, it's like, it's kind of a non-negotiable. It's like, this is my role in my life. I have to come first so I can serve them at the highest level. And if you can get that through to somebody, it's like, oh, well, it doesn't matter if my wife goes to the gym with me or not. It doesn't matter if I eat differently than my wife does. It doesn't matter what my kid eats, and we can talk about that separately, because I know what I need. And if you're feeding yourself and taking care of yourself in a way that's going to make you the most dangerous, capable, the best husband and father, boom. I mean, you're doing the right thing.
You're doing your job.
Yeah, like you say, fear not, do right.
Exactly.
I'm doing the right thing. I don't have to fear about, leading my family by example.
Now, do you try and instill some of this on your kids?
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even really have to try that hard, because I have a 5-year-old, my little Gianna. Dude, she eats basically what we eat. So we get up in the morning, she calls it her egg, or we'll make protein pancakes. And she loves fruit. I'm cool with that. So we don't have cereal in the house. We don't have Pop-Tarts. We don't have regular syrup. Like we have maple syrup, like real maple syrup and stuff. But that's just like her life. That's just the way things are. Like we don't go to McDonald's, and we don't buy candy, and we don't buy these things. Like she's aware they exist, but it's not part of something that she has. So it's just kind of whatever, it's not really a known thing to her.
Dude, I'll tell you what, McDonald's messes me up. It's so bad.
Dude.
It's so bad.
For sure. So if we know it's messing us up, I'm like, man, I don't want to give that to her.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, it just comes down to leading by example. And it's not so much that like you're a shitty person if you're giving them McDonald's and stuff. Like I get it. Like the kids, I mean, she wants ice cream every day of the week for every meal. She doesn't get it, But she has seen me. She's 5. She has seen me always going to the gym, always leading other people, always eating a certain way, always, where are you going, Dad? How many times has she heard me say I'm going to the gym? Hundreds, if not thousands of times now, right?
Yeah.
Even in her 5 years, to the point where now, like we've shown her, she knows how to do push-ups and squats and jumping jacks. She'll go on YouTube and put on workout videos, and she'll do it. Sometimes she's like, Dad, let's do exercises. Sometimes it's at 9 p.m. and I'm like, oh my God, no, not right now. But, they're going to do what they see us do. Like kids don't give a shit what we tell them. They really don't. They learn by showing. They learn by seeing us and what we do. They know, they're smart, They know if we say one thing and we do the other thing, they see the disconnect.
Yeah.
So if we're doing what we need to do, it's so much easier for them to just kind of, well, this is what I'm going to do. This is what Dad does. This is what Mom does. And they're just going to naturally progress to that.
Yeah. I mean, I see it every day with she's in between like that toddler and kid phase. And again, what it really boils down to is that like accountability.
Yeah.
Right. The bigger lessons, they see you keeping yourself accountable. They see you keeping them accountable.
Right.
And they get it. They understand.
They get it.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Like,
because again, like that's our role. We have to teach them. They don't know. They're going to try to get away with anything and everything, like whether it's YouTube or candy, like their mission is to get what they want. Our mission is to help show them the right way, Yeah. So if that means like not having certain foods in the house, if that means, making sure that they drink a glass of water before they get another juice, little super simple things like that, it starts to just click and become more the norm. So some people and then we're not super restrictive either. Like if she comes home, like she came home from her Easter party, the other day, and she still got some candy.
Yeah.
But I didn't give her the whole damn basket. I selected a few things, took away the shady things, and all right, cool, you can have this. Dude, she didn't even eat it all, which is great. She had a couple pieces, and then a few days later, I looked in the basket. Most of it was still there. She truly doesn't care, because she's starting to feel like, like you can get a headache from too much sugar.
Oh, yeah.
She's starting to feel these things. So she's naturally just starting to follow my lead. and mama's lead too. Like my wife hates going to the gym. She hates it, but she still goes 3 days a week. She does it. She won't eat after 8 p.m. Like she still has, the things that she needs to do to stay in her shape. And the kid sees that too.
So with Earn It All, as you guys have been doing your, personal training and getting people aligned, is there a evolution that you guys are looking at doing and scaling out or up or anything like that?
Absolutely. So one of the kind of the side things that we do is we love to do events, like in-person workout events, in-person speaking events, networking events. Especially after all the COVID bullshit where everything went online, we try to do a lot of in-person stuff because that's really where people get that sense of like, I belong to this thing. Like this Earn It All is my thing, like I'm an elite earner, which is what we call our group, and it's more fun that way. Like you get to actually meet other people and show people who you are, It's not even about looks. It's just people, humans want interaction.
Well, you're building that tribe and community.
Yeah. And it's so important, and you can build a community online to an extent, but man, we do a lot of in-person stuff for that point. But then the other thing is, like we touched on here, like we train for capability. So what else defines, how capable someone is? There's other skill sets too. There's putting our body to the test is an easy one when it comes to hiking or running or lifting, but also like if we talk about protecting our family, like there's more. Like what do we do with our hands? Are we capable? Can we defend ourselves? Can we fight? Can we deploy weapons when necessary? All those different things. So a natural progression for us is getting into incorporating different skill sets like firearms, like personal defense, fighting, these other things that are really going to take our capability to the next level. So you and I have talked about it a couple different ways. Really our goal is to make the individual the most independent, capable man or woman possible. And a lot of that means, of course, being healthy, but then what do you do with that healthy, capable body? Because who gives a shit how you look, right? If you can't use that muscle or that mobility or that confidence to defend yourself or your family, it doesn't really mean anything. Sure, you can go on stage and you can flex and get a freaking medal, but if you don't know how to fight or use a weapon properly, I feel like you haven't quite got there yet. So the next evolution for us is to bring that part in. Bring in the firearms training, bring in the skill sets when it comes to all these different things you can do with your hands and our bodies to actually use it to its maximum potential.
Kind of reminds me of Tyler Durden in Fight Club.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does he say? He's like, building the body is masturbation. You're just,
yeah.
But actually destroying it or, being destructive with it, that's what it's for. And I mean, that's a little bit more, you can get into the weeds on what Fight Club is all about and all that stuff. But, same kind of thing where it's like, yeah, you can flex it up, but you can still be a weenie.
Yeah, dude. My friend Michael Johnson, he's a Shockwave Defense. You got to meet him. He's super cool. He's some people will look at him. If you know what to look for, you'll see his cauliflower ears, and he's in great shape and everything. But he's a smaller frame guy, dude. I would put him against basically anybody. He knows how to affect the body with the throat, the eyes, all these different things. He's so fast and so on point with his hand-to-hand stuff that it's you don't have to be the biggest guy. You don't have to look any certain way if you have the skills to take another guy down. So how about we combine that? How about we look great, feel great, have all the confidence and everything to go to the pool, or the lake at the summertime and not worry about taking our shirt off, but then also be able to deploy our hands and weapons if necessary,
That's one of my big, again, this is probably wrong because I'm trying to look a certain way, but one of my metrics is the uniform, the combat top uniforms, they fit a little snug. And if you look like shit, you really look like shit wearing one of those.
Yeah.
We actually we used to call it our combat top profile back when I was in the Army because, a profile is if injured, you wear, if you jacked up your feet, you wear a soft shoe profile. You have a little memorandum you walk around with that says, hey, you can wear soft shoes. So we had combat top profiles where dudes were getting a little chubby. You got a combat top profile. You're not allowed to wear them.
No way.
Not allowed to wear them until you can look good in them.
I
mean,
that,
and it was
actually.
like a personal team leader. Like we would do it within our squad and stuff. It's like,
let me guess, it worked though.
oh, dude, it works so good.
Yeah,
it's worked so good. I mean, some guys would take, like they would try to do it the wrong way. They'd be trying to get like auxiliary supplements and stabbing themselves with stuff. And you're like, hey man, just stop doing that and don't do that and stop ordering a Little Caesars pizza every night and getting wasted.
Right.
Like that'll fix your problem.
Right.
And then you can show up to work and actually be engaged here and also look cool. You can wear the cool guy stuff if you look cool. Like you gotta, if you look like a Meal Team 6 airsofter, then we're gonna make fun of you.
I love that. And I was talking to a buddy the other day, and he's like, "Hey, what shirt are you wearing in this video?" So I told him, he's like, "Yeah, it makes you look jacked." He's like, "I need to get some of that." I'm like, "Okay, yeah." I mean, there's the argument to wearing something that is flattering of your body, but it's like, I don't want anything. I'm not buying anything because it makes me look jacked. I'm trying to be jacked, and then I just put clothes on.
Yeah,
I was like, oh fuck,
So what do you think of like body positivity people who are activists or whatever, who are like, you need to love your body and all bodies are beautiful, all that crap?
They're full of shit and they're lazy. I mean, they're not healthy. It's as simple as that. Like, again, it's not about looks. It's about, are you healthy and capable? And you cannot be at the top of your healthy and capability chart if you're super overweight. It's not possible. So cool. I'm glad you have like self-esteem and confidence and everything. But if you're 350 pounds as a woman, that is incredibly unhealthy. And that's why, like, I forget the name of her, but the one lady, she died.
Lizzo?
Yeah, no, she died. I mean, Lizzo needs to make some changes. I mean, like, dude, it doesn't matter if you're happy with what you see in the mirror. If the data is telling you you're on the verge of freaking dying, what are you doing? You can't just ignore disease. You can't ignore bad health. You can't ignore death. You can't do that. You can't smile your way, to get the Grim Reaper away from you. Like, I forget this lady's name, but she was like the face of this body positivity thing. I think she was the one on the top of Shape magazine or on the cover of Shape magazine.
Mm-hmm. I think I know who you're talking about.
Big lady, like 300 plus pounds. She was the face of this whole thing. Like, this is sexy. This is the new healthy and all this kind of stuff. She is literally dead now. She wasn't shot. She wasn't killed in a car accident. She didn't fall off a bridge. Her body literally shut down because she was so unhealthy. So dude, like, again, the data doesn't lie.
Yeah.
It doesn't. So for anyone that's like the body positivity movement, I think, is one that is really sad, because there's a lot of people that will look at an influencer like Lizzo, who's morbidly obese, clinically morbidly obese. What does that mean? It means you're so fat you have high risk of dying, okay? But people will look at that and they'll look at themselves like, oh, I'm like that. She says that's okay. Like, she's happy with it. Yeah, I'm just going to be okay with this too. Like, you are not doing yourself or your family any favors. You are setting yourself and your family up for an early retirement from life. That's not cool.
So how do you guys approach things like endocrine related, where it's like, okay, your hormones are out of whack, or there's something else wrong that's not necessarily diet or exercise, but there's another issue at hand? How do you guys approach that? Totally.
So we're always looking for the root cause. And this is why a lot of like the clients we start with blood work, because we want to see what's going on. If your hormones are completely out of whack and your body is just having all these signs of like something is way off, you're right. It's probably not going to be fixed by going to the gym. We can make the case that chances are you can eat healthier, and if you're eating more for your body, that'll start to get leveled out. But we're never going to ignore some symptoms of a bigger issue. So when it comes to something like that, one, we probably start with blood work. We go to Modern Therapeutics right over here in Scottsdale, get the blood drawn, you get the results back the next day. It's quick, it's easy, it's cheap, and now we have some data to go off of. And if it looks like there's a bigger issue, okay, now we might refer to a specialized doctor or something else, but chances are most people are living so unhealthy, we can really make major waves just by dialing in the hormones at the base level, dialing in how you're eating, dialing in movement, getting you hydrated, stopping these bad habits that are leading to this. We can make major headway that way. And then if we need to go deeper, then we go to a specialist. We go to someone that can really help, because some people are truly sick. They got some major issues going on. But everybody, no matter what your issue is, can benefit from eating and living healthier, like period.
So if people wanted to get in touch with you and start earning it all, where would they find you?
Earnitall.com is an easy way. But we're more on social media. Like We're not like hey, just go to our website and buy something. Like we do a lot of corporate plans, so we work with a lot of teams, and we like to work one-on-one with people at the really high personalized level. So you can always reach out to me, justin.j.cross on Instagram, or just message anywhere you can find Earn It All or Earn Your Booze. Just be like, hey, I need help with this, or hey, I want information about that. Anywhere that you see one of our brands, just go ahead, send an email, send a DM. It's going to get back to me, Adam, or one of our staff.
Awesome. Anywhere else people can reach out and find you?
I mean, here in Scottsdale, Arizona, we're right over by the Scottsdale Air Park. So we have events all the time. Want to be doing a lot more stuff with you.
Yeah.
So like we're easy to find.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, thank you so much for coming onto the show. And I mean, we're going to be getting together on a bunch more things. So
absolutely
it's awesome. This has been the Fear Not Do Right podcast. If you guys want to support the show, go to fearnotdoright.com, where we got merch, we got shoes, and we're gonna be having a lot more stuff coming your way. And if you hit us up on social media, we're always doing giveaways and cool stuff like that. And until next time, fear not and do right. Did it go? There it goes. Cost me like $50 for that music, but it's totally worth it.
I like it.
Yeah, it's Western.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. I mean, music is one of the toughest things to hit for like a brand or a feel.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, anytime that we've done like a professional video, when it comes time to music selection, I just don't even want to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know. It can completely change. Like, you can have a video.
Awesome.